Anyway, so we're here to bring you Shore Leave. It is a con, so there may be some background noise, and, we don't have microphones or anything, but it's a real good time. We had a real good time, and you may find out some things you didn't know about sex herself. I know I did. Mm-hmm. So, hope you enjoy the interview. Here it is.
There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to bring you the lovely and beautiful Miss Tricia Helfer. Fans will readily know this lovely lady from Battlestar Galactica playing the iconic Cylon number 6. However, she's also appeared on Chuck, Warehouse 13, Burn Notice, Human Target, and 2.5 Men. No Ordinary Family, and most recently lent her voice talents to Scooby-Doo Incorporated. Ms. Helfer, welcome and thank you for taking time to talk with us on the Scifi Diner Podcast.
Thank you.
In Battlestar Galactica, not only did you get to play Cylon number 6, but you played several different characters who were Model 6. I got to think that would be a joy, yet no small challenge to you as an actor. Would you say that was your experience?
Yeah, definitely. When I started the show, when I signed on to the show, I didn't know about all the different incarnations that were going to be coming. And it was really season 2 with the Pegasus episodes and the Gina character that I got the first real different one. And to me, that was a huge joy to get it, because not only was it a challenge, because it was a very damaged character, but I was getting a little tired of the Head 6 at that point, because Head 6 never had her own storyline. She just draped herself and whispered in ears and things like that. So it was getting a little tiring as an actor. So to get the Gina episodes was a real high point for me, and also for the producers. I was a brand new actor when they hired me, so it showed them that I could do other things. They could give me more material. And after that, they started giving me more material. And when you get an email from the producer after you go home shooting the Gina episodes, and they say that you blew their mind away and stuff, it's a real nice pat on the back. And so then they gave me more. They believed in me more after that, and started giving me more. So yeah, it was huge for me.
It was BSG your first, regular series show?
Yes, I'd been acting for a year, and then I got Battlestar. So I had like 3 tiny little things on my resume, and so they really took a chance.
Jericho is one of them. Or something.
I had one episode of Jeremiah. I had one episode of CSI, and I had a small independent film with Judd Nelson.
So virtually unknown until
virtually unknown in the acting world, and so they really took a leap of faith hiring me, and I think they're glad they did.
We're glad they did. Enjoy it.
They were nervous in the beginning, though. Let me tell you, they were nervous.
Yeah. And why was that?
Just because they really are taking a chance on someone that they don't know, and they see you in the audition room, but the audition rooms are hard. I mean, you've got actors that are really good in auditions, and then you've got actors that aren't so good in auditions. I kind of fall in the latter part because I get too nervous, and then sometimes I do feel like I do really good in an audition room and it doesn't go anywhere. So it's auditions are a really funny creature. They're nothing like working. And so they didn't have any base to look back at past work of mine,
right?
To look at and say, yes, she can do this.
Right.
So they really did have to take a leap of faith, and I'm thankful they did.
Yeah. Well, you grew up as a farm girl, is that right?
I did, yes. I grew up as a farm girl.
Right. And where was that experience?
In Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
I grew up driving tractors and fixing farm machinery, and
something that no one would ever expect to see in BSG, that's for sure.
I know. I usually, when I work with people, I have to show them pictures on my iPad of me on the farm, actually, for them to believe me. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's awesome. Well, I grew up on a farm too, so I know.
All about disking and rod reading and harrowing, and yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead, Bob.
On the show, was there any chance for you to do anything improvisational, or did you have a different idea how a line or performance should be delivered? Did you get a chance to?
On Battlestar, they were very good about discussing scenes, and because the storylines were so intense and interwoven that you really wanted to be able to understand it as much as you could yourself. So there was a lot of discussion on set, and there was a lot of openness. James Callis changed a lot of his stuff. Jamie Bamber. Me being a newer actor, I kind of stuck to what was there. But if I had a question, I would bring it up, or I would change something slightly. My biggest thing that I stood up against was the downloaded episode, or downloading episode. the director at the time was a one-off director, meaning, he only had done that episode. And he wanted it very serene and just, quiet and soft. And I didn't want that because I had just come from a character being blown up in an underground parking explosion, and my leg was broken, and Lucy Lawless's character said, well, I'll just kill you and you can just download. And I said, no, I don't want to do that, and so to me, the rebirth shouldn't be, it should be like a birth. It shouldn't be easy and serene. It should be, harder and more intense. And from that, I insisted on that, and I wanted it. The one that we saw in Downloaded was the one that protected James or Baltar in the nuclear explosion in his house. And so for me, I wanted it to be like the glass was shredding into my back in the explosion. So I wanted to come out of the tub and the goo like right. lurching forward and that type of thing. And it really did inform the way the next downloadings happened, and dialogue later on about Cavill after downloading a few times in a row. He started having headaches more, it was harder each time that particular one had to download. And so personally, I think I made a better choice than if it was just this sweet little, serene
it's much more
thing.
intense.
In fact,
much more intense.
The contribution, because all other downloads we saw, it was a traumatic experience for all of them after they...
It was, and I was the first one that had to do it. So that was really, I would say, the biggest thing that I've pushed for in the show. For my own character.
Right.
And set the stage for, the other silent, I thought. It certainly did.
Yeah, it did. And really, early on, the only other thing was the baby killing scene. I didn't want it to be just merciless. I wanted it to be more like a mercy killing.
I
wanted you to see that she had trouble with it.
Yeah. That's what makes the scene more meaningful.
Yeah, instead of just being like Terminator crap. I wanted you to see that she was fascinated by the innocence of the baby, and she only did it because the baby was going to die a more horrible death in a few hours with the explosions.
Right.
So sort of lighten things up a little. After the show's over, we able to keep anything from the show, i.e. like the red dress or...
I have, my chair backs with my names on them. I only have more kind of press marketing stuff that was sent out, I have from the publicity department. I have one of the duplicate red dresses. The original red dress that I wore all the time was sold in the first auction. In exchange for me doing some press for it, I said they had to donate that money to animal charities of my choice, which they did.
Yours.
It is a passion of mine, and which they did. And then I guess in a second auction they sold one of the duplicate dresses that also went for a lot of money. And then they gave me one of the duplicate dresses. So I do have a red dress in my closet.
Oh, very good.
Awesome.
You've done sci-fi, action, and you've lent your voice talents to different animated movies. What would you like to do now that you haven't done yet?
Oh, there's so much I want to do. I've only been acting 9 years, so... I mean, I know 9 years sounds like a long time, but it's really not in the grand scheme of things. And, I'm the roles that I'm up against, I'm up at my age... I'm up against girls that have been working since they were 15 or 5 or whatever, so their resumes are a lot longer. I really want to do... I'd love to do a more comedy sitcom. I'd love to really play a hard-edged cop-type role. And I'd really like to do something just really raw. I've done... primped up and things, and I'd love to just really kind of bare the soul and do something really raw.
I thought you did that real good with the Gina character in BSG.
Thank you. And maybe that's a little bit of it. It's you tap into bits of your life. I mean, I lived a pretty privileged, not saying rich. I mean, I was a farmer,
right?
But privileged in the term of very loved and loving family, and so it's interesting. When I first started acting, I thought I'll never be able to play those roles because I can't draw from anything. But it's interesting what you can parallel and what you can actually use in your life to draw. And it turns out like it's a therapy session. I mean, it really is. So I'd like that challenge.
And you had some good comedic moments with Baltar too. I remember there was one where he's falling asleep and you wake him up by hitting him over the head with a pencil. That was a great scene.
Yeah. James he's such a lovely actor to work with, and he's so supportive, and he's game for trying anything, and he's really cerebral. He's such a thinker. He's so intelligent, personally, that it's just, he's really game for trying anything, and a lot of those things were just stuff that he came up with or we came up with, and little moments that, of how I hit him or how I knock his head into the mirror or things like that. And a lot of that is attributed to James.
And Chuck had to give you some comedy, because Chuck tends to be a comedy, right?
Yeah, Chuck is a comedy. I mean, it's tongue-in-cheek comedy.
Right.
It's not sitcom.
Right.
But you certainly, my character was playing a hard-ass, tough detective, sort of the Casey type. But at the same time, it's, it is kind of with a wink, because it's not that serious.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least for geeks or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, when we were filming the scene where I'm cleaning the gun, and of course we're trying to get cleavage and the wind blowing and they're oiling me all up, and I'm sitting there and Adam, who's, supposed to be watching me like all googly-eyed, and we were just busting out laughing because it's so stupid when you're sitting there like you're being oiled up, and they're like, okay, can you get more cleavage? Can you get more wind? Can you get more of this? And I'm cleaning this gun, and I'm looking at him, and we just like, it was so hard not to make. We were laughing our asses off because it was just so silly.
The absurdity of it all.
The absurdity of it all, exactly. It was so silly.
Which is what makes it funny for the people watching.
Right.
They pick up on that right away.
I mean, it wasn't sexual at all. It was very funny.
Oh, it's great.
Well, if I could ask you one more question, you came. I mean, I commend you. You came down from Shirley after work on a movie and
Christmas movie, if I'm not.
Yes, my first family type film, a Christmas film. I'm actually really excited about it.
Is that out this year?
Yes, it's going to be on Hallmark Channel. I'm not sure of the exact date, but sometime in November
and the title?
Or December. Mistletoe Over Manhattan.
Okay.
So I will certainly tweet and put
Do
it on my
everything else
Facebook
in
and to let everyone know when it's out. But I haven't seen it yet. It's got Santa and Mrs. Claus and elves, so I don't know how it's going to turn out exactly. But it was a cute story that I actually had a little tear in the end when I was reading the script, and I don't veer towards family fare type things at all. So I thought there's something cute about this. I'd like to do this.
Nice.
And what future projects do you have coming after that?
Well, actually, the closest thing to airing is, I think it's on August 1st or August 3rd, a TNT show called Franklin and Bash with Mark Paul Gosselaar and Breckin Mayer and Malcolm McDowell. I'm doing a guest role on that. I shot it so many months ago already. But it airs, I think it's either August 1st or August 3rd. It's on my website.
Very cool.
Franklin and Bash on TNT. I play a hard, kind of bitchy New York attorney.